Hey guys, Skybird here, trying something a little bit different and bringing you a Rahi review. So this week we're going to be featuring, I say this week as if there won't be more than one video this week. Um, I don't know if I've actually given this a name now that I think about it. I believe I did online, but it's actually based on a model that my friend designed over on Discord. If you guys aren't aware, that is Aurora, and they make some really amazing Rahi. They kind of got me into this, or at least a lot of credit for my work and for my commitment to creating Rahi goes to them. So thanks to them if they're watching. Aside from that, was inspired by a model that they created called the Kofu Rama, I think. So basically like a mini Nui Rama, and that was their idea. I think I tried to build it once, and then I wanted to build my own like version or so. I don't know exactly. I don't remember if I actually built their version of the model. I just knew what function that they were trying to replicate, so I wanted to try and do a similar thing myself. And this is what I came up with here. So you notice it has very wide wings. I actually brought the Nui Rama in for scale here. I actually just built this. I didn't build it for this video, but this then inspired me to make this video. So quite a bit smaller, although the wingspan is actually about the same. And the reason for that is these thin cables are very flexible, and so these wings don't have quite as much travel as this one here, which I'll go ahead and show you. And so the flexibility in those wings means that momentum can actually make them snap together, which you can kind of hear there, and you can even see it, which is nice. And so this is able to do the same thing. The momentum ends up actually carrying those wings further forward and making them actually collide and even surpass each other, which they're actually quite painful, which is kind of what I was going for. Not, pain, of course. I want them to be able to, like, knock masks off or something. These aren't quite heavy enough to do that, but you can absolutely get them to, like, you can hear that they actually do collide with, different parts and stuff. So, the way that the function works, I'll go ahead and just show you here. If I've got good lighting on that, hopefully. Basically, I'm just using these rack and pinion pieces, and so as I push forward, the bottom of the pinion piece, I don't know what to call it, pushes forward. There's also a rubber band connecting it, so that's what pulls it back, and it connects this side to this side here. But yeah, that ball pushes forward, it pushes the racks forward too, and that rotates the lift arms that are connected to the wings above. And so you'll see as those lift arms slap forward, they actually stop. So underneath the head here, I actually used an older style of connector, and the reason for that is twofold. It allows me to connect the mask on here, which I'll show you in a minute, and to keep the head steady, but it also acts as a stop, because when those lift arms go side to side, they actually kind of lock up, and that's just because of the geometry of things. So basically, the rack and pinion wouldn't know which way to rotate that lift arm anymore. I don't know a better way to explain that. But yeah, so if that wasn't there, the wings could actually lock in the forward position, which isn't good. It's not what you want. You want it to be a repeatable function. So yeah, that piece allowed me to do that because it collides with those lift arms, and it actually it goes in. Oh, sorry, not on screen. It actually goes into this piece here, and the lighting here is awful, so I will have to work on that. But that little hole that's there, on the bottom of that little nub, which is stud sized, goes into that, and it locks that piece at that angle. It just kind of helps to solidify the head build onto the body. And then, so that is what the head design looks like, and I chose the Kakama, well, because it's dark orange, which is the color I chose for this, but also it just, the geometry of it really works. It goes right over the ball pieces for the eyes, and the cutaway at the bottom of the mask is enough to fit those 3 long axles with the stud pieces on top into that space, and still, not cause friction on the function. So it works. Yeah, it's really good. I like it a lot. There's not too many pieces used, although it's more than it probably looks like it is, because the body is entirely built up. You can see there's a bunch of lift arms and angled connectors and things, and that body is also built so that this piece at the bottom here can prevent those lift arms from sliding off after repeated use. So it's kind of its own lock, if that makes sense. In a very similar way to how this is built with these green pieces on here, so that like the top and bottom couldn't like separate, and it also entraps the function here. If you guys aren't familiar with how the function on this works, you're actually sliding the entire front assembly forward, and the rubber bands are what are pulling it back. And then it's rolling along a bar gear, which is what's turning those wings, and that's how you get that function. Yeah, so the reason I like that so much is that build is very structurally sound and very stable, and I wanted to replicate something similar to that with this. My original version of this, which I have shown off in the past, wasn't quite as structurally stable because it used the angled connector here, but it didn't really have the lift arms in the body. So you using the function would actually over time pull the entire tail end of the body off, which was not good. It was mostly just because of this piece in the center of the body here didn't quite have enough friction to withstand the function. Because there's not a lot of force required to use the function, but that rubber band is always pulling against it. So that rubber band would actually basically pull against that axle and pull the whole thing apart. So rebuilding the body to include lift arms in here means that that no longer is the case. The only piece on this that I could pull off if I wanted to is the actual tail, this hook here. Aside from that, you'll see I also put these number 2 lift arm pieces in here. That's all those are. And that's solely to keep the wings flat on the body. So I don't know if this is just my build, my pieces, or what. But sometimes you'll see that the wings don't always want to close up, and that was even more the case without those lift arms there. Those lift arms kind of help to align the wings so that they'll close properly, and the momentum of actually using the function tends to mitigate the problem. But yeah, just know that that is something that can happen with it. It doesn't bother me too much, but yeah, you'll see the wings being split like that is, you know, not the greatest thing in the world. One way I could counteract that is to lift the wings off the body a little bit, say like a half stud or something. But in that case, it would then interfere with how the mask is connected, or I could lift them even a whole stud, which I think would make it a little bit too large. Or I could attach a rubber band to the bottom here and pull from the front of the build to pull the wings back, which I guess is feasible. So I may try and do that and just wrap the rubber band around that basal connection here and see if that can stop the collision of the wings with the body and actually make the wings close up properly. I think that will work. I think I'll have to use a different size rubber band to do it, but yeah, you know, it's always worth a shot. That's, at the end of the day, that's what I like to do with Rahi, with my builds and stuff, is experiment, try new things, try to figure out what will work and what won't. So aside from that, the arms are on just friction pins so they can move up and down, and I'm just using the black Borak teeth as their claws, so to represent the claws of the Nui Rama, because in the end, this is kind of my own subspecies, I guess you could think, of that build. So, and then of course using the galley hook as a handle that you can hold on to, and also as a stinger, which, you know, just looks aesthetically pleasing. And the wings, lastly, like I said, they use this cable piece, which is an older piece. I think this brown one actually came from the Destroyer Droid Lego Technic set. Great set, by the way. And the way that that works, because those are normally like frictionless and it would kind of flop all over the place, is I've actually seated them through, again trying to get this in the lighting, through a number 2 thin lift arm, and they're thin enough that they actually slot down inside of one of those 4, you know, sides to an axle hole, and that provides enough friction to actually hold them upright. So that way they're not just kind of flopping all around doing whatever, which, I mean, that could be aesthetically kind of cool too, you know, if that's something you wanted to do. You could definitely remove, let me try and get this out here real quick, you could absolutely remove the lift arm, but you'll see, yeah, the wings just kind of fall all over the place, and not the most exciting to flap the wings only to have this wing not really keep up. So that's definitely why I do it. But yeah, it's absolutely your own choice, it's your build. So you do what you want, you do what you think looks best or achieves what you want to achieve. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this one, guys. I hope you guys liked the build. I quite like it. In terms of other colors you could make it in, I mean, I'm not really certain. Pretty much any color that the Kakama and the lift arm pieces come in. So like red, you could definitely do red. You could do other colors. Perhaps that's something I'll do in the near future. I only own the brown cables. I have some gray ones, but I don't know where they went. They're really small, so they tend to run off. So otherwise, I only have these brown cables. But aside from that, if you had other colors you wanted to use, then yeah, you totally could. And maybe one of these days I'll try and combine two of them into something different and see what I can come up with. Who knows? So yeah, I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, go ahead and leave a like. It helps me out a lot. If you guys like this format, let me know in the comments below as well. Hi, you get to see my face. And I will try and do something to make this lighting better. Right now I've just got a lamp pointed up at the ceiling to try and diffuse that light. Otherwise I think it'd be a little harsh. Let me, I guess, check that though. I don't know. I think it makes me quite a sight. So, but at least you can see the bottom now. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this one, guys. So until next time, I'll see you. Take care.